History shows no mercy to the man who bets on the wrong woman. That truth is never spoken aloud, yet every man eventually collides with it, often when it's far too late. By the time realization hits, he's already burying the remains of his ambition, staring into the wreckage of his life, wondering how his empire crumbled without resistance. Don't expect warnings. Your mother can't shield you, your friends won't dare, and society? It thrives on your blindness. But Machiavelli? Oh, Machiavelli saw through the illusion. He understood that most men aren't destroyed by fate or misfortune, but by a woman they foolishly let too close. While the world sells fairy tales about devotion, romance, and happily ever afters, Machiavelli whispers something colder. Men judge by surface, not substance. We all have eyes, but few see beyond illusion. You're not here to be amused, you're here to endure. What I'm about to reveal won't be found in mainstream advice, and no one dares to say it plainly. There are only two kinds of women: those who elevate you and those who hollow you out. No gray zone, no depends. You either rise with her or rot because of her. The brutal truth? Today's women have mastered the illusion of value while being nothing but parasites in disguise. Yes, I said it. They know how to seem supportive while draining you dry. You can sugarcoat it, pretend it's love, call it complicated, but it won't stop the fire from spreading when you let the wrong one stay. This isn't about misogyny, this is warfare, because Machiavelli made it clear. Deception needs a willing participant, and that participant is the man too afraid to think before he feels. So here's the first rule. Never choose by looks alone. Ever. She might be stunning, but if her mind is hollow, her morals are rotten, and her loyalty up for auction, she's not a prize. She's a poison in disguise. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you truly are." Are you even hearing me? Most men don't look past the surface. But a man, a real strategic man, dwells deeper. He studies her choices. He tracks her alliances. He notices how she behaves when no one's watching, how she treats waiters, family, or herself. He sees what other men ignore. The ones who lose everything, they skip those details. They mistook performance for character. They didn't inspect the battlefield. They charged in blind. You don't find a high-value woman by accident. You select her. You test her. You observe like a war general scans terrain before launching an invasion. Machiavelli warned, the wise act immediately, the fool waits. So stop waiting. Stop hoping. If you ignore the warning signs, don't cry when the trap shuts. Here's your second law. Never choose a woman who disrespects masculine command. Period. If she sees your strength and tries to undermine it, leave. If she doesn't follow your lead but constantly competes, walk away. If she pokes holes in your vision and brings no wisdom, cut her loose. Because a woman who rejects order will inject chaos. She'll dismantle your structure and call it empowerment. And by the time you realize it, your legacy will be ashes. You weren't born to rescue her. You're not her life raft. You're a builder. And builders don't partner with wrecking balls. Machiavelli made it simple. A man who loses control becomes enslaved by the very storm he failed to contain. You think you can manage her mood swings. You think your patience will tame her. You think love will fix it. It won't. She knows something you refuse to admit. You've already chosen her. And once that happens, she holds the leverage you gave away. Power in relationships isn't shared. It's either kept or surrendered. Most men, in their craving to be accepted, hand it over, wrapped in sweet terms like compromise or teamwork. They think they're building harmony. In truth, they're laying bricks for their own prison. Machiavelli wasn't romantic. Machiavelli was ruthless. Better to be feared than loved if you can't be both. Remember that. Because love without respect is slavery dressed in affection. And the man who allows a woman to rule him, thinking it will bring peace, is no king. He's a decorated servant, wearing a fake crown while his house collapses behind him. You want to know who she really is? Draw a line. Say no. Withdraw your attention. Watch what happens. Will she respect your boundary? Or will she try to reel you back with tears, guilt, and manipulation? Modern women have been taught to believe that men are tools for emotional consumption, and most men accept that role, crawling on their knees in the name of peace. But you don't kneel anymore. Not after this. Here's the third commandment. Observe how she handles boredom. Every woman glows under attention, gifts, and praise. But it's in silence, when there's nothing to distract her, that her true self emerges. Can she sit still with patience, or does she light fires just to feel something? The woman who can't endure peace will destroy you the moment real storms arrive. You need a woman who brings calm, not someone who turns stillness into war. And then comes the lie they've hammered into you. Her past doesn't matter. Body count doesn't matter. You're insecure if you ask. Machiavelli would laugh. Her history is your only forecast. A woman who betrayed others before you is not turning over a new leaf. She's just sharpening her blade while you sleep. Track her past, because it's whispering your future. Fourth rule, never invest in a woman whose values don't mirror yours. A man with a mission does not marry chaos in heels. He aligns with purpose. If she mocks your ambition, lives for likes, and rolls her eyes at discipline, she's not a partner. She's your undoing wrapped in perfume. I don't care how soft her voice is or how good she looks when she wants something. The wrong woman is a slow death. And no amount of pleasure is worth the graveyard of your potential. Now the coldest truth, if she doesn't fear losing you, she will never respect you. Period. A woman who knows you'll stay no matter what will rot in front of you. Because what costs nothing becomes worthless. If she can't lose you, she will crush you. But if she fears your absence, she'll rise to match your standard. This isn't cruelty, this is survival. Women don't trust what they don't respect. And a man who won't defend his value is just another man waiting to be used. You think she cares because she cries on your shoulder, because she vents. But does she follow your lead, submit to your direction, elevate when you raise the bar? No. Then you're not her king. You're her emotional trash bin. Stop negotiating respect. You don't buy it with effort. You claim it with presence. She must know. You can walk away at any moment. That's power. That's what keeps her aligned. If she tests you, you respond with action. You walk, not to punish her, but to prove you'll never kneel for disrespect. Watch how she talks about other men, her father, her mentors. If she drips contempt, sarcasm, resentment, she'll bring it to your doorstep soon enough. You're not different. You're next. Don't marry promises. Don't fall for potential. Marry patterns. If her life before you was chaos, don't kid yourself. You're not the cure. You're the next casualty. These are hard truths. It's not easy to live them. Because to do that, you must first kill the fool inside you. The romantic fool, the desperate fool, the boy who still believes love alone can fix her. You won't. Your time is your empire. Every minute you spend fixing the unfixable is stolen from your future. The wise man moves fast. The fool delays and drowns. And here's the blade most men won't touch. No woman is your purpose. Your purpose is your discipline, your craft, your mission. She either fuels that or drains it. Women trust men who orbit nothing but their mission. They don't respect men who orbit them. The same woman who mocks one man will worship another. The difference isn't her. It's you. Your frame, your standards, your absence, if needed. Step back and watch. Does she stand strong or collapse? The woman who needs constant attention will be your undoing, but the one who thrives in your absence, holds the line, honors your legacy when no one's watching. That's rare. That's royalty. She doesn't have to love the pain, but she must respect the structure. If she tests your time, your standards, your boundaries, you correct, you withdraw, you vanish, not in anger, but in sovereignty. Choose a woman who polishes your edge, not one who dulls it with softness disguised as care. If she tempts you to skip the gym, trash your goals, soften your rules, that's not love, that's sabotage. A good woman is a mirror. She reflects your potential back at you. She keeps your blade sharp. She doesn't let you forget who you are. And if you're already in too deep, there's still time. But freedom costs pride, money, time, whatever it takes. Because staying with the wrong woman? That's a slow suicide. And when you're empty, she'll leave anyway. Nature has no pity for men who refuse to rule themselves. Look around. Men you admired, now broken, bent, silenced. Why? Because they surrendered their edge for comfort, for company, for her. They didn't fall by accident. They made a trade. While you waste time being understood, the right woman is walking by, watching you settle, watching you fold, watching you lose yourself for nothing. You must become the man who chooses silence over compromise, mission over attention, standard over comfort. Because while you entertain the wrong one, you train your future to rot. Better to wait alone than to rot with the wrong woman. Every woman either sharpens your blade or snaps it. Every choice is a battle. And the woman beside you either helps build the fortress or burns it from the inside. Do you think this is paranoia? No. This is history. Empires didn't fall from swords. They fell from who was led into the bedchamber. And in the end, the woman you chose wrong, she'll be the excuse you give to everyone. Why you failed, why you quit, why you vanished. But you'll know the truth. You saw the signs, you heard the warnings, and you ignored them. And when your castle crumbles, no one will come. Machiavelli didn't write for nice men. He wrote for winners. So choose like a ruler, walk like a king, build like a god, or fall like the rest. And now comes the rule no man wants carved into his bones, but every man must obey. If she doesn't fear losing you, she will never treasure you. That's the most brutal law of all. The woman convinced you'll always stay, no matter the betrayal, no matter the erosion of value, will inevitably begin to loathe you. Why? Because what's free is disposable. And no one understood this better than Machiavelli. Men must be either cherished or crushed. And women? They operate no differently. If your absence holds no weight, she'll reduce you. But if disappearing is an option you carry like a sword, she'll rise to meet your edge. Men respected are not cruel. They're simply men whose withdrawal means something. So stop flooding her with attention she hasn't earned. Stop pacifying disrespect with softness. Stop groveling for affection when you should be issuing commands. Power belongs to the man who is unafraid to walk away. Always has, always will. These truths, easy to quote, much harder to live. Because to live them, you have to bury the weakling inside you, the dreamer, the hopeless romantic, the naive soul who still clings to the fantasy that love alone tames chaos. You've been programmed to believe that your devotion will reform her, your loyalty will impress her, your patience will anchor her. It won't. This is why so many men lie in pieces, not because of women, but because of the delusions they refuse to kill. Machiavelli had no sympathy for men who fled reality. Men are driven by two forces, love or fear. And don't get it twisted. Fear crushes love in power. Always has, always will. The woman you can't leave is the woman who governs you. And she knows. Watch how a woman behaves when she senses risk. When your silence stretches, when your detachment stings. Her tone softens. Her wildness shrinks. Her fidelity tightens. But the man who's always available? He watches her grow distant, cold, defiant. She pushes not because she's malicious, but because her instincts don't respect what doesn't defend itself. A man who won't protect his own worth is not a man she can follow. Let's make it plain. The most destructive woman in a man's life is the one who sees him as a shoulder to cry on, but never as a leader to follow. You think she loves you because she unloads her pain in your lap, because she leans on you, because she confides her anxieties. But look closer. Does she follow your path? Does she respond to your standards? Does she elevate when you demand more? If the answer is no, then understand. You're not her king. You're her therapist, her sponge, her emotional trash can, and she'll drain you dry until she finds someone she actually respects. Too harsh? Good. That discomfort? That sting? That's the pain you need to wake up. Most men try to trade for respect. They perform. They overgive. They contort themselves hoping to finally earn value. Fools. Machiavelli was clear. He who deceives will always find those willing to be deceived. And the person who has fooled you the longest is you. Respect isn't negotiated, it's asserted. And if you're pleading for it, you've already forfeited it. How do you command it? You live as if you're always ready to lose her. You carry that threat in your silence. Because a man who fears loss serves. But a man who embraces loss, he becomes her obsession. She'll test you. She'll provoke you. She'll play with fire just to see if you flinch. And when she does, you must not blink. You must vanish, not to hurt her, but to remind her. You value yourself more than you fear her absence. Now here's the part most overlook. Study how she treats other men. Not just the ex, not just the friend. Watch how she speaks about men as a whole. Does she admire strength or ridicule it? Does she hold reverence for her father, brothers, mentors, or spit bitterness and sarcasm at them? Because if she harbors quiet hatred for men, don't think you'll be spared. She may smile at first, but eventually, the venom leaks. And when it does, you'll realize too late. You didn't marry a partner. You married a rival. Machiavelli again. Promises were necessary once, but breaking them is necessary now. Her words mean nothing if her behavior contradicts them. Do not marry ambition. Do not invest in hope. Invest in history. If her life before you was unstable, don't assume you're the exception. You're the next failed experiment. If her habits were lazy, her goals non-existent, her choices reckless, don't kid yourself into thinking you're her turning point. You are not the fix. You are the next casualty if you ignore the pattern. Why do men dismiss all this? Why do they cling to fantasy? Because deep down, they crave to be the hero. They want to believe their love is the love that saves. They want to be the one who breaks through. They're convinced that if they endure long enough, suffer long enough, pour enough into her, she'll one day open her eyes and see them as the prize. She won't. You're not her father. You're not her savior. You're not her divine assignment. You are a man. And a man's currency is time. Every second you pour into a woman who refuses to grow is a second stolen from the empire you're meant to build. Machiavelli said it clean. The wise man acts swiftly. The fool waits. And every moment you hesitate to cut loose from the wrong woman, you're living as the fool. No woman is your reason for existing, not a single one. Your purpose is your mission, your discipline, your empire. A woman either strengthens that or sabotages it. But most men flip this truth upside down. They make her the goal, the center of gravity, the very reason they get out of bed. And the second she senses that, she begins to pull away. Why? Because women don't trust men who orbit them. They trust men who orbit purpose. That's why the same woman who belittles one man will worship another. The difference isn't her, it's the man's frame. So burn this into your bones. Never choose a woman who withers when you're not around. You want the truth? Step back. Observe who she becomes without you. Does she unravel into chaos or rise into self-mastery? The woman who constantly needs attention, praise, babysitting, she'll bleed you dry. But the one who holds the line when you vanish, who respects your path even when unseen, that one is rare. She's not perfect, but she's aligned. Machiavelli warned, it's better to be feared than loved, if you must choose. And in love, that means this. You must be willing to make her uncomfortable in the name of your standard. If she crosses a boundary, call it out. If she wastes your time, take it back. If she tests your strength, show her the door. Not to punish, but to protect the architecture of your kingdom. Because if you bend once, you'll bend forever. And she knows it. Next law, choose a woman who sharpens your discipline, not one who dulls it. If she lures you from your grind, mocks your ambition, or laughs when you resist temptation, she's not helping you grow. She's seducing you into collapse. Her smile might be sweet, but if it's pulling you off course, it's sabotage in silk. A real woman doesn't soften your edge, she keeps it razor sharp. She doesn't ask you to stay weak, she dares you to remain unbreakable. And if you're already trapped, don't lie to yourself. You chose wrong. But it's not too late. You can still escape. The price? Your ego, your time, maybe your wealth. But ask yourself, what's costlier? Cutting ties now or dying slowly for the next 20 years? Because rest assured, the wrong woman won't save you. She'll drain you until you're hollow, and once you're empty, she'll leave. Because nature has no sympathy for the man who won't lead himself. Machiavelli knew, people respect what they're afraid to lose. And if she doesn't fear losing you, it means you've trained her to see you as expendable. But that ends today. You're not here to be an extra in her story. You're here to build a dynasty. And your empire will either be fortified or destroyed by the woman you let pass the gate. The crisis of modern men isn't just weakness, it's the belief that weakness is virtue, that letting things slide is maturity, that swallowing disrespect is love. But Machiavelli stripped that illusion bare. A prince who is not himself wise cannot be wisely advised. Meaning what? If you lack strength, you will only attract echoes of that weakness. That's why men without standards end up surrounded by chaos. You thought you were unlucky, that the universe handed you the wrong women. But no, you opened the gates, you let them in, you kept them there. Your insecurity was a lighthouse for their disorder. And now, you're waking up. You feel it burning inside. Let me say what no one dares. You are exactly where you chose to be. Whatever woman you have beside you, angel or destroyer, you picked her. Maybe from boredom, maybe from fear, maybe because you didn't think you could do better. But you still made that call. And until you own that choice, like a man, you will repeat it again and again. Blaming her, blaming society, blaming fate. Stop. Look in the mirror. Own your standard. Because Machiavelli's wisdom is only useful to the man who's ready to stop playing the victim. You know what most men do? They wait. They sit still, hoping the perfect woman will appear out of nowhere. They don't build. They don't sharpen. They don't question. They just float through life, waiting for a feeling. But feelings lie. Women are masters of manipulating them. Validation, softness, comfort, sex, attention. She knows exactly what to trigger. And you? You think that means connection? It doesn't. It means she knows the script. So here's the final law, and if you remember nothing else, remember this. Men judge more by sight than substance. All can see, but few understand. You have eyes, but do you have insight? Can you look a beautiful woman in the eye and see the performance? Can you walk away when every cell in your body begs to stay? Because real men don't choose based on cravings. They choose based on clarity, not on chemistry, but on compatibility. Not on how she makes them feel, but on how she aligns with what they're building. And here's the ultimate test. Don't watch her when you're around. Watch her when you vanish. Does she carry your name with honor when no one's listening? Does she ignore temptation without being told? Does she uphold your values when there's no reward? Or does she drift the moment your presence disappears? Because if she can't be trusted in your absence, she will destroy you in your lowest hour. Never apologize for having standards. Never apologize for enforcing them. You're not here to compromise. You're here to construct a future. And if she isn't contributing to that future, she is a threat to it. Not because she's evil, but because that's how nature works. There is no neutral woman. She builds, or she burns. Machiavelli told rulers, build strong cities, guard your gates, defend your borders. Why? Because kingdoms don't fall from war. They fall from within, from who you let in, from what you fail to protect. And you are a kingdom. Your time, energy, focus, mission, those are your walls. Let anyone inside without control, and you've already started your collapse. The final trap they've laid for you? The illusion of infinite choice. This idea that women are everywhere, that you can swipe until you find gold, that there's always one more. It's a lie, a profitable one. Machiavelli saw deeper. Men forget the death of their father faster than the loss of their inheritance. Translation? Nothing bankrupts a man faster than chasing women who offer nothing but emotional debt. Women who cost you clarity. Women who drain your discipline. Women who dress up chaos as connection. And deep down, you know this. You feel it every time you scroll and see women fighting for strangers' attention, not legacy. You see them perform for crowds, but never show up for one man's vision. And still, you settle. You shrink your standard. You tolerate what you should walk away from. Why? because you fear solitude more than you fear decay. But here's your last brutal truth. Better alone than with the wrong woman. Because the wrong woman doesn't just waste your time. She erodes the very structure that makes you a man. She numbs your edge. She blurs your vision. She siphons your purpose. And by the time she's done, you'll forget what it even felt like to be dangerous. Look around, you've seen it. The men you once looked up to, now husks, exhausted, silent, eyes dead. They didn't fall in battle. They fell in love with the wrong woman. And while you cling to a fantasy, the right woman walks past you, watching you rot, watching you betray yourself, watching you give your future away for attention that fades in hours. You must become the man who chooses dignity over convenience, legacy over comfort, mission over company. Machiavelli taught leaders to abandon the easy path for the path of power. The end? Your empire, your legacy, your peace. The means? Ruthless, focused, intentional selection. Because every woman in your orbit is sharpening your sword or dulling your mind. There is no harmless woman, no neutral presence. She's either your multiplier or your demise. She's either oxygen to your fire or the weight around your neck. She'll either guard your walls or slip poison in your wine. That's not drama, that's history. Kingdoms didn't fall to armies. They fell to the women kings trusted in silence. And worst of all, you won't just pay the price. You'll spend the rest of your life explaining her to everyone else, making excuses, telling yourself it just happened, telling your friends she changed. But you'll know. You saw the signs, you heard this message, and you stayed anyway. And when your kingdom finally crumbles, don't expect anyone to save you. No one rescues a man from the destruction he invited. Machiavelli didn't write for the men who wanted to be liked. He wrote for the ruthless, for men who'd rather be hated and in command than loved and forgotten. So if you truly want to win, choose like a ruler, test like a king, walk like a god. Not because you're cold, but because your mission demands it. Your time is too rare. Your vision is too sacred. Your energy is not cheap fuel for chaos. You stand now at a crossroads. This choice will mark you, not just as a man, but as a builder of legacy or a silent casualty of weakness. You've heard the warning. You've felt the sting in your chest. You know your future hinges on the woman you allow beside you. Not next year, not when it feels right. Now. Because the second you relax your standard, the second you ignore what your gut is screaming, the moment you settle for beauty over alignment, attention over respect, you start the clock on your own fall. I'm not here to soothe you, I'm here to shake you. Because comfort is the opiate that put you here. Comfort is what made you tolerate what should have been unthinkable. Comfort is what turned kings into jesters, warriors into doormats, visionaries into ghosts who whisper, maybe she'll change, while dying inside knowing she won't, not her, not the one built to break you. And here's the last law you etch in blood. You don't rise by luck with women. You rise by standard. Ruthless, relentless standard. You will not be celebrated for this. You'll be laughed at, criticized, called cold, called controlling. They will say you hate women. They'll say you fear intimacy. But remember this, the man standing alone in peace is wealthier than the one drowning in chaos dressed as affection. Make your choice. Choose now who you'll be. The man who bends until he breaks, or the one who sharpens until he's unshakable. The one who apologizes for having a spine, or the one who carves empires with it. The one who explains his regrets, or the one who needs no defense. She is not your mission. She is not your North Star. She is not your salvation. Your mission is your salvation. Your kingdom is your calling. And if she doesn't honor that, if she can't amplify that, if she won't protect what you're building, she's not your woman. She's your undoing. And no amount of beauty, body, or temporary bliss is worth losing the war for your soul. Now rise, or be erased.